Favorite quote from the author. As we will show, poor countries are poor because those who have power make choices that create poverty.
Who has power? You know what's funny? Did you guys watch Starmer lately? There was this court decision that had been made. I think now I'm not like super on top of everything, but I just picked it up. So maybe I understood wrong. But what I've understood is that the court in the United Kingdom is now going to use people's profiles to decide how to judge them. Meaning, if I'm a woman, I'm going to get a different judgment than a man. Which is, by the way, always true. You cannot ignore the fact that there are different genders, right? So, I mean, there are things that you would judge differently according to who is in front of you, because some things are less believable. Like if, it's a fight one-on-one in a street, if there is a quarrel, and then the claim would be that somehow the woman overcame the man and, I don't know, some bullshit, attacked him, and then whatever, and you have a scrawny one, like a scrawny little woman. I mean, I would never fight in your life. There is something, but that's different. Obviously, we're talking about things that don't matter, which is skin color and where are you from, and ethnicity and nationality. And apparently this kind of public profile is now going to be used to make court decisions, which is very different from having a blind lady that makes the judgment. But the thing is, Keir Starmer, if I'm not mistaken, actually said that he is disappointed with this decision, that even in his delusional world, this doesn't make sense and is very different from the ideal. And it has to be very, very extreme for Keir Starmer to come and say, whoa, that's not cool. And then what did he say after that? I wish I could do something about it. Dude, you are the prime minister. So when Keir Starmer reads this quote, is he gonna think, hey, I'm a person in power?
Now have a two-tier legal system, James,
yes.
whereby white men will be treated harsher now under British law, James.
Well, yeah, it's really, really shocking, this. Basically now they have put in this system whereby pre-sentencing reports, which basically automatically take into account your race, your gender, your circumstance, all of that to mitigate the sentences that you might get for whatever crime you're alleged to have committed and been brought before the courts and convicted of. That now means essentially that white Britons are going to get the worst treatment when it comes to sentencing. This is the two-tier justice system. This is why they call Keir Starmer two-tier Keir. And I'll tell you something, guys, but the other point...
Even Keir Starmer recognises
how bad
what
this
a
is.
catastrophe
Let's have a listen.
this is.
Yeah.
Disappointed in this response, and the Lord Chancellor is obviously continuing to engage on this, and we're considering our response. All options are on the table, but I am disappointed at this outcome, and now we'll have to consider what we do as a result.
Oh, I don't know, if only there was a Prime Minister who cared about the issue could do something. You're the Prime Minister, Keir. I mean, he's acting like he's just some dude off the street who's a little bit aggrieved.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But James, the reality is what they have literally done is brought in laws whereby if you are any of those identity politics groups, women, gays, of ethnic whatever origin, anything other than a white man must be treated more leniently. So by definition, white men will be treated harsher under the British legal system.
No, he's gonna say, I wish I had power. I'm just the prime minister. Who am I? I cannot overturn the court that went crazy woke. Just the way they are. I try. I'm just the prime minister. I cannot do anything. Literally. And this is the number one thing. Do you think you don't have a political power? You all have a political power. Ask the person in Czech Republic who stood in front of the Soviet tank and changed the course of history. Ask the person who set themselves on fire in Tunisia in a market and thus changed the course of history. You have a political power. The only thing is that you might not want to do or sacrifice yourself and do whatever, and execute your political power. The reality is that most of us have a lot more political power than we want to admit. I also saw an interview with, she was a prime minister in UK and she resigned pretty quickly. What was her name? Anyway, she got interviewed in one of those British podcasts and she also expressed that feeling of powerlessness.
But I wouldn't overstate it. I mean, this, in terms of who runs Britain, it's the unelected bureaucracy that have far more influence.
Yeah, I can imagine that. The moment that you knew you would have to step down, how did that feel for you emotionally as a human?
I was very so I'm somebody who, I'm a very positive person, as discussed, and I wanted to get things on the right trajectory. So when I was forced to reverse the policies, which I absolutely hated doing, and I only did it because it was a gun to my head, I was literally threatened.
Literally threatened.
With that. Not with a gun.
Metaphorically with a gun.
It was a metaphor of a gun.
Putting it in the trailer. I was literally threatened with a gun.
I was threatened with a gun. That's it. But the point is, there's a gun put in my head saying, if I didn't reverse these policies, they feared that we would not be able to fund our debt.
Girl was the prime minister. Okay, Keir Starmer is the prime minister. Also, Netanyahu has points where he is powerless, and yet people are like, I don't have. So what is this? This is how communists think. This is communism. Because if you believe in liberalism and capitalism, then you own a capital because you're a free person and you have the political power. So this statement doesn't make sense from the get-go, because the corrected statement would be, as we will show, poor countries are poor because people who live there make choices that create poverty. That is the unwoke statement. You cannot ignore anything. You cannot ignore the culture, you cannot ignore religion, you cannot ignore people, and you cannot ignore geography. There is nothing you can ignore. The problem is that once you have... It's so easy to focus on the institutions, right? It's so easy to focus on the government. Because then people are like, okay, there's one thing at fault here. So we're going to protest again. What's the thing that is responsible? And if it's multifaceted, if there are a lot of things, yes, thank you. Guns, germs, and steel. Sorry, yeah, I don't know why I had this. You guys, yeah, gun, germs, and steel. Where they put, I think, too much emphasis on geography. But anyway, but it's true. Geography matters. Everything matters. But people, it's not solvable. It's so much easier to blame one thing. And it's like if that one thing would get solved, then everything's going to be fine. Such an easy slogan. So wrong, though. Daniel gone. We need government to actually care about the people. They usually become sellouts to corporate interests. Also, Islam being in power is bad. What if I would tell you, you only get the leader that you deserve? The leader reflects the population. There is a saying like that in the Talmud or the Bible, I don't remember, that you cannot have a leader that is better than the generation he is leading. The way the leader conducts themselves is the same way the population conducts themselves, and it cannot be mismatched. Because they have to be on the same level, because otherwise there wouldn't be an understanding between the ruling party and the population. There must be a common logic. That is need to be careful about it. The thing is, like, a government can incrementally bring the population to somewhere better. but it's so rare that things can just overturn in overnight. By the way, Shauna also participated in the first round that I did on the course that I did on geopolitics. And there we go through everything. So we build a society from scratch. We go through geography from scratch. And we understand culture from scratch. So we do everything. And with that, the goal is for you to be able to have this understanding that even though you know nothing about Congo or Botswana, you're gonna know what questions to ask and what to look for. Yes, the course was really good. You should all take it. I'm just gonna tell you that it's not an easy course, okay? It's a high level, high intensity, hard on brain cells course, just so you're prepared. So if you are into that, if you wanna know how to do those things, if you wanna see those things, then go ahead and sign up. It's a very much hands-on course, and I'm there with you all the time.